You said at the weekend that you were close to a couple of signings. Is there any progress?
Yeah, we're making good progress. These things sometimes they happen very quickly. Other times they demand more negotiation and there's to and fro. And so we're hopefully making very good progress. And fingers crossed we'll get them over the line.
The St Johnstone Chairman has confirmed that Rangers have made bids for Michael Hall.
We will never speak about another club's player. You know how we work. We're never going to change. We only ever talk about any players that we get when we've secured the player and they're a Rangers player. So it would be inappropriate for us to change that tack now.
Yeah, do you sense or feel the fans' frustration in this, so that they want to know what's happening but they can't? They're not finding.
Fans are fans, and I'm sure they're always looking at what the club are doing, but I think they're also looking at what the players are on the pitch. And we had a good run of games recently. We were in good shape. I'm sure the fans recognise that. The support from the fans has been outstanding. So if we find that quality that we think improves us, we'll make that move. And sometimes to secure such quality takes time. But other than that, I think the relationship with the fans has been first class.
Nathan Odua has left the club. What was the thinking behind that? Was it his decision? Or?
No, we work very closely with Tottenham Hotspur. Really close. To a lot of respect for the staff and how they operate down there, and the relationship between the two clubs is good. So it's the next stage of Nathan's education now. He came here, he experienced 50,000 crowds and what he had to do and different services and did very well. And now it's a decision between the two clubs to make sure now he moves on to the next stage of his education.
How are you finding the transfer window? Is it frustrating or are things going to plan?
I think we spoke before, January is always more difficult than the summer because you're more hurried. I'm repeating myself here, but the teams that are doing well don't want to lose their best players. The teams that are struggling don't want to lose their best players. So it's a harder time, it's a tougher negotiation, it's more drawn out. But hopefully, as I say, if you can get the one or two you need, great. The important thing is not to take players for players' sake. Don't just add to numbers, add something you haven't got. And if you can do that, all well and good. But if not, our squad is more than good enough right now to achieve what we want to achieve.
Do you need to replace Nathan or his role that he had within the squad?
Nathan had a role on the right side. If you look at the games he played, obviously we played a flexible approach. Nathan played on the right side. In recent games, Martin Waghorn's been playing more right and Kenny down the centre. So we have players like Barry Mackay. Kenny can play wide right. We have Tom Walsh has gone out, but those type of players can step in and play in those roles. So as long as we have players who are flexible in terms of positioning, we'll be okay. So right now, Waggy's got that right side berth.
If you have a valuation on a player and a club have a different valuation on a player that's significantly higher, are you willing to move towards their valuation, or you stick at yours?
I think it's really important that as a club, we do our homework first, determine what we think is the right valuation. That's key. We could be wrong, but we determine what we think is the right valuation, stick to that. And if there's some small flexibility, maybe that's up to the board and the owner, of course. But I think it's really important to know your market, recognise what represents value, and then make your move. If you can find the value, then great. But if not, don't be panicked into buying something which is too expensive.
Is your the current squad, of a size and quality to win this league, and also what would be going into the Premiership next?
Our intention for this season is really clear. I'm sure it has been from day one, so that won't change. Size of squad, we're lean. There's no doubt we're lean. We've made that very clear. We're lean for a reason. I want everyone to see a path at the first team. There's nothing worse than training day in, day out and not seeing the first team. So I want everyone to experience that. We've got players come in, the likes of Harry Forster's come in, managing goal, etc. So we have good cover, but there's no doubt that we're lean. So if we can add to it, we will do.
Lean by how many?
We're lean because we are very lean. You look last week, we've had 19, 20 players. Nathan goes back, etc. Young Tom Walsh goes out on loan, so we are tight. But I prefer it that way. I want everyone to see the first team and to experience first team action. And when you call on players, there's nothing worse than having not played for 8, 9, 10 weeks and then be expected to deliver at the higher level. So it's important that all of our players experience good pitch time. If we can do that, we'll be in a good shape.
Just to go back to Nathan Odua, what was the reason behind him going back? Did you feel as though he could cut it in Scottish football?
No, not at all. It's just dialogue with Tottenham. He's their asset, he's their player, and all we've done is maintain really good communication. So the likes of John McDermott and Dean Rastrick at Spurs and Paul Mitchell have been first class with us. So we both agreed, all parties agreed, the best thing for Nathan was to go back, and we maintain that relationship with Tottenham.
We had a Latvian boy on trial in December. He's since sent a plea out to Rangers. Is that someone you're still considering?
No, we look at a number of players. If we listen to pleas from all the players, we'd be in a real state. But we look at a number of players. If we think they can add value to us, then great. The danger is saying, if you say he's as good as what we've got, well then why add to it? The boys here, their character, their qualities. So it's important that any player brings us something we don't currently have.
Is there a latest on Barry Mackay's contract extension?
We're getting there. We're very close with Barry. I think he's been outstanding. He's one of the first names on the team sheet. You've seen that by the selections. his flexibility, playing wide left, 8, 10, wide right. He's for a young player, he's been outstanding for us. So I'm hopeful we're very close to that.
You had a lot of good things to say about yourself. Thank you for his progress. Is that something?
It's not about getting praise from the players. What it's about is the players given opportunity and then maximising that opportunity. And Barry's done that. The first day of pre-season, our message was there's no hidden agendas. There's no reports back on you from last season. It's a clean slate. Go and enjoy it. Go and be the best you can be. Barry embraced that. From first day, his work rate, his quality, his commitment, his desire has been first class. So Barry deserves everything he's got so far.
Matt, just come back to you say the squad's very lean now. Do you feel you have to bring in players this window to get numbers up?
No, not at all. We've got an academy here that's doing really well. The work by Craig Mulholland and his staff has been first class. So if we can dip into there, we've done it before. The likes of Dylan Dykes and we had Liam Burt and other boys on the bench. So quite happy to use them. But I'm really keen to get the balance right. The worst thing for me is to have too many players as opposed to too few.
I think you said a few months ago when you were talking about the transfer window that you were looking for players who could also help make the step up to the Premiership if you get them this summer. Is that something you're still looking for? It's got to be a long term?
Yeah, we're not looking for players just to get us through the next 5 months. And that's a pointless exercise. Short-term fixes won't help Rangers Football Club. So we're looking for players who can, of course, come in, adapt to the demands that we place upon them, and embrace those demands, but then obviously prepare for next season as well at the higher level, hopefully.
Did you see the transfer window, you being active right up until last minute? Could it be then when you do ring up?
Not a fan personally of the last minute. I think your clubs get panicked into wrong buys and poor decisions, so not a fan of that, but we do what we have to do. If it does mean going to the last minute, then we do. If it makes sense for Rangers Football Club, what we won't do is be rushed into something and panic. We'd rather wait and make sure the right quality comes along.
Just looking ahead to the game on Monday night, Morton gave you a tough time at Ibrox recently. What do you make of the challenge ahead? Yeah, they're all tough games.
We saw that. Livingston away, it was tough for us, and we dropped 2 points there. But we hopefully corrected that at the weekend. We're in good form. We're training really well. Delighted with the way the boys trained this morning. The hunger's there, desire's there, and the squad is in really good shape. Again, injury-wise, we're fortunate. So we'll take that into the game on Monday night. It'll be a tough test. Nice pitch, good surface, tight ground, which we enjoy, and we're looking forward to it.
Do you have to change things about in weeks when you've got a Monday game rather than a Saturday or something?
It does cause you, not issues, it just causes you a change, in terms of day off for the players and your working days, how working days now become Saturday and Sunday, so Friday becomes a day off as opposed to Wednesday, and it's just changing the routine, but it's making sure that the build-up to the game is as consistent as we can make it, but I'm sure there'll be no problems.
Are you a fan of these Monday nights and Friday nights?
We had a lot more down south, whether it was Monday night, Friday night, Tuesday night, we had a lot of midweek games, and Saturday, Tuesday, as I've mentioned before, so that was a real demand, and you were travelling a lot of the time, and you weren't training. You were just really recovering and very light for the next game. So the fact we have 7-9 day breaks is fantastic for us.
Is it possible you could have any new signings in by Monday?
I hope so. If we can, if the work goes ahead and if all parties are happy, any negotiation, all parties have got to be happy. So if we can get to that point, then I'm very hopeful we will do. But if we're not, then no problem.
What did you make of Anthony Stokes going to Burnley?
I'm not going to talk about another club. I don't know about my own players coming to our club. I'm never going to talk about other clubs and their players. That what any other club does in the window is down to them and their business. Our focus will always be Rangers.
Can I just ask you a couple of things that came out of the SPFL meeting yesterday? Fans' behaviour and the possibility of that relating to points being docked, because that's something that would directly affect you. What's your thinking behind that?
My honest thinking is, I'll talk to you about football. I think people on a far higher pay grade than me decide those sorts of matters. Yes, there's a lot of importance attached to them. I'm not dismissing that in any way, but as I say, the appropriate powers that be will deal with those matters.
The other one was the Challenge Cup, which there's a suggestion that teams from Wales, Northern Ireland and youth teams from England could come in to join. Is that something you'd be interested in?
I think you're always looking to provide a quality of challenge. If any new measures or new ideas, innovative ideas, bring about an increase in the quality of challenge, I'll always support it. I'm sure there's a lot of hurdles to overcome and different permissions to be granted, etc. But anything that raises the quality of competition, I'll always be supportive of.
The same with the facial recognition that was talked about yesterday.
That's far too way above my pay grade. That I can't even spell recognition, let alone talk about that.
So just going back to the Morton game, what's changed since the 2-week draw last month?
I think we said blip, far from it. Teams were looking at ways to play against Rangers. How do we set up to stop Rangers? And I said at the time, we've got to find ways. Our job is to find solutions to the problems that they're posing. And we did that. We did a lot of work on the pitch, did a lot of work in the analysis room there. And we went into the Hibs game very comfortable that we were well prepared and delivered an excellent performance. And that's carried on from there. And it's also about the level of training every single day, the intensity being maintained and the drive forward. We know what our targets are. The boys are more than hungry, the staff are hungry. So hopefully together in one direction we'll be okay.
It's the fact that you've already dropped the points against them, is that an indication that you can't get complacent?
No, we of course we never get complacent. You get complacent, I always talk about getting hurt. But we went to Morton away early in the season and delivered a fine performance, and I hope very much we can do the same again.
What squad number will Michael Halloran have?
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. There's that late curveball.